the newspaper review. I am Bukola Balogo. And yes, on the newspaper review, we definitely get to have a discussion on the dailies. And if you have your own contribution, you can definitely make your own contributions as well. And this morning, I am not going to be doing this alone. I have with me in the studio Daniel Adaja. Good morning.
Good morning. Good to be here again today. Good to
It's
be on the
good.
side of the microphone.
I've seen you. You have to show yourself. But then it's good to have you as well in the studio. And yes, just like I said earlier, we're going to be reviewing the dailies. And we're going to be starting off with the Punch newspaper this morning. The Punch newspaper says Ogun tests only 50,000 residents, 1% of population. Borno lists 1,163 school enrollees parents for allowances. And we also have this 1,000 national drug law enforcement agencies cadets stranded as minister stops Plateau orientation. Okay. All right. And 60 Lagos Ibadan railway project workers infected with COVID-19. This is according to the federal government. And hospitals won't be able to handle serious COVID-19 cases. Nigeria Center for Disease Control stated this. An alleged unlawful assembly, Omoyele Sowore gets 2 million bail. 20 million rather, sorry, about that 20 million bill. And Senate probes ministry over 4.6 billion Ebola fund query. And Cross River lied. We didn't admit our employment was fraudulent, magistrate. Fire foreigners not needed to restore service, says Comptroller General. Taraba says internally generated revenue worrisome, raises panel on revenue. I think that's another thing that should be looked into by each state. But then we'll go to the Guardian newspaper. Join
All
the
right.
conversation on 070-317-56537.
The Guardian has the headlines: crowds return as striking National Identity Management Commission as the striking workers resume. All right, 60 Lagos Ibadan rail project workers infected with COVID-19. And court grant Omoyele Sowore 20 million naira bill, others 1 million each. Labour cautions Ekiti Assembly against unlawful sack and victimization of workers. And burnt office won't affect our service delivery, says the Nigerian Immigration Service. Also, Ibadan Poly employee declares strike over minimum wage. Also, federal government signed 1.95 billion US dollar pact for Kanu Maridi rail line.
Okay, and we have this day which says here Kingsley Mogalu urges federal government to improve internal revenue mobilization. Federal government threatens varsity workers with no work, no pay rule. Okay. Students are always at the receiving end with all of this. We'll have the federal government rolls out provisional quarantine protocol for incoming. Elsa community threatens showdown with Niger Delta Power Holding Company over power outage.
All right, the Nation has the headlines: resumption of schools threatening over virus spread. Also, no functional oxygen plant to be activated. Non-functional oxygen plants to be activated. And Cross River denies protesting magistrate. All right, and tension in Ekiti over alleged plot to sack assembly workers. And also federal government allays fear over fire at the National Nigerian Immigration Service headquarters. And Ogun opens oxygen therapy center. Also, Auditor General queries Ministry of Health over 4.6 billion naira Ebola funds. The pen pushing has the headline: Ibadan Poly workers comment indefinite strike over non-implementation of minimum wage. These are the headlines on the dailies this morning. Do well to send us a text or a WhatsApp message on 070-317-56537.
All right, thank you very much. We're going to start off with this headline, and I think we also have a similar headline on the this on the this day, yes, on the this day headline newspaper rather. On the Guardian newspaper, this headline said crowds return as strike NIMC workers resume. Crowd of applicants from the National Identification Number name yesterday returned to offices of the National Identity Management Commission NIMC as the striking workers of the commission called off their strike. NIMC workers last week commenced a 2-day strike to demand better work condition and welfare package. The rush by the applicants yesterday was to beat the February 9 deadline for registration, verification, and subsequent linking of identification models that SIM cards. And in Lagos, applicants complained of slow progress, inefficiency, among others. And we also have a similar headline on the This Day newspaper here, which says federal government mulls NIN enrollment suspension over COVID-19 risk. The federal government said it has said that it may suspend the ongoing enrollment of the National Identification Number NIN as NIN in view of the large crowds at the National Identity Management Commission NIMC offices in many states. And it stated the decision is necessary to protect Nigerians from COVID-19 pandemic. And the federal government has also threatened to shut down the Lagos Ibadan and the Abuja Kano train services if any case of the pandemic is detected among passengers. And however, it has signed a memorandum of understanding with some groups of 1.9 billion Kano Maradi standard gauge rail line. Now, I think this carries a whole lot. Now, we have the people still going out there, right, for their registration. And we now have this coming up that might actually have to stop this because of the level of the coronavirus infection going on. That's another case entirely. Now, talking about the rail service, we had I think I saw a report, I think that was today, of some rail workers actually
60, about
infected.
60
Yes,
workers.
are infected. So this statement now saying if you have passengers, can't the workers actually infect the passengers if they come in contact with them?
So there is a lot to this story. I think I'll start off with the NIN with regards to the registration. In the first place, what were we thinking? We're in the middle of a pandemic, and then you ask people to go out en masse to go and register for something. That's one of the most ridiculous decisions ever taken by the commission with regards to ensuring that everybody gets registered. You know, the timeline, everything, and you know this. The question was, what did the NCDC say the moment that instruction was given out? I don't think there is a particular report where the Nigerian Center for Disease Control made a particular statement, or the Presidential Task Force objected to this decision that was taken with regards to ensuring that, saying that everybody should go and register, they get their NIN and also link it to their SIM. There was no objection that this could lead to a far more spread of this virus. That was when it was prior to that week that the announcement was made, that it was made known globally that there's a new strain of this coronavirus. Our borders were open, flights were coming in and going out. We had lack of proper compliance from Nigerians who were flying in and flying out of the country. The regulatory measures that were put in place where the adhering to these protocols were already at almost next to nothing. And then you come out all of a sudden and say, I also think that, you know, they should be held responsible for not being for not prioritizing the health and the welfare of the citizens before going out with these activities. The workers who went on strike for 2 days, that's more like a child's play. But I think they have made their point known to the public that, you know, they are not provided with personal protective equipment and they are asked to work under tedious conditions, which is because you're attending to a lot of people at the same time. That's tedious work. No personal protective equipment, no provision of water, hand sanitizer, no provision of masks. People are maybe buying masks on their own. No crowd control unit to help out with the crowd that is coming there daily. So the lackadaisical attitude that this administration has displayed, especially from the Nigerian Communications Commission and also from the NIMC, has shown the capacity of those who are heading this unit. And I think their qualifications should be questioned in every capacity, in every way.
This actually should be happening now? Because we have a whole lot that we're dealing with. And do you think that there would have been a better way to handle the situation not, physically going to gather to do registrations,
The truth
you
be
know,
told, that the pandemic is over, there is not an effective way to go about this, except if you had created a template. See, the fact that I strongly believe in the statement that if you plan to fail, if you don't plan, you would
you plan to
you
face.
plan to fail. You're right. I'm strong on that statement. Why? Because the government already, that their plan was to fail from the very beginning. There was no structure in place. You could see when it was election time how there were mobilization, orientation of people who are going to carry out these activities. Nothing of such was done. And then you just expect that the same number of people who have been doing this job over time are the same number of people that are still the ones to register 168 million people in 2 weeks. It's not magic. It can never happen. I still have a problem with the Nigerians who have still been adamantly going to these places to still go and register. I understand that we might joke a lot with this pandemic and not believe that there's any corona anywhere. But please and please, people have died from this coronavirus. People have lost the most important persons in their lives due to the spread of this virus. And it would be unfair on you to jeopardize the lives of others, maybe because your immune system is better off than the others. A lot of people are asymptomatic. They do not show any sign of this virus. Somebody was telling me of a person who went to a 15-man party. 15 people only were at the party, and somebody was there who was asymptomatic, didn't know he had the virus, and now 3 people from that place are in critical condition. What do you say? What do you say to that? Not talk of mammoth or crowd in a particular place, waiting to be registered. I don't think the government would be so irresponsible with regards to the fact that people did not register and would want to deactivate their SIM card because it is not linked. I think that if you want to make drastic decisions on security, these are things. What was the NCC doing all these years with regards to this? Why have they not figured this out? Why is FRSC just coming out to say that if you want to register for your vehicle house? Why is FRSC just coming out to say that if you want to register for your vehicle plate, your driver's license, you would need it, or your vehicle particulars, you would need it? These are basic prerequisites. You go to the US, your social security number is something that is demanded at almost every registration you do because it's a unique number, particularly to you. And that's what the NIN is supposed to be. What agenda have they pushed all this while? The NIN has been there every year. There is a budget allocated to these people, but they are still making estimates. A census has not been carried out in this country in almost 10 years, and you come with me to an estimate that you have carried that we are 206 million. How did you arrive at that figure? What the stats that you use? The Nigerian Bureau of Statistics needs to, up their game. The orientation agency of our country needs to do better. I'm particularly scared of the virus. I don't know about other people, but I know because I have people who have tested positive. I've seen them recover, and I've heard these people say stories of people they know who didn't recover.
Wouldn't recover. All right. Thank you very much, Daniel. And I think this is the part where we'll have to be responsible as a people. We need to be responsible for ourselves, because the truth is, if you're not responsible for yourself, the government has been able to do their own bit. But what are you doing as an individual to make sure you stay safe? Now, still on the issue of COVID-19, hospitals won't be able to handle serious COVID-19 cases soon, and CDC stated this. And the Nigeria Center for Disease Control says the country is now reaching a critical level, adding that the hospital capacity will no longer be able to cope with the more serious COVID-19 cases. And the Director General of the NCDC, Dr. Chikwe Hekwazu, said this in a series of tweets on Monday while reacting to the spike in COVID-19 infections in the last 2 months. Hekwazu said this is the fear of COVID-19. Said as the fear of COVID-19 spread at the National Identity Management Commission grew on Monday because Nigerians besieged the NIMC offices following the workers' suspension of the strike they embarked upon on Tuesday. And I recall that Nigerians have been trooping to the NIMC office since December 14, 2020, when the federal government ordered the telecommunications firms to disconnect telephone lines or subscribers who failed to link their NIN to their subscriber identification model. Now, this is our reality. And if we have, those that are supposed to be in control of what is happening to us, and of what is happening with the issue of COVID-19. Now, the Director General of the NCDC, that's the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, that is Dr. Chikwe Ihekwazu, saying that at some point, or we're getting to that point where hospital capacity will no longer be able to cope with more serious COVID cases. Isn't this a cause for concern at this point?
Well,
Because
I think all of them, all of these agencies should be held responsible. Why is the NCDC just making a statement now? Where were they when the NCC said they give the for telephone users 2 weeks to link their NIN to their SIM card, and then after that their SIMs will be blocked? Where was the NCDC? Where was the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19? Where were they? Why are they coming out to make a statement after this has happened? This raises a lot of conspiracy theory, which might say that was this a deliberate attempt to get a lot of Nigerians infected? Was this an agenda by the, when they understand the peculiarity of the virus?
we can't actually state that,
that's why I said it raises assumptions of conspiracy with things like this. So we have to ask questions on why do you take drastic decisions on the lives of individuals, of your citizens, which wouldn't get to you. So these are questions that still needs to be answered, and the agencies needs to be held responsible. You are saying that the hospitals might not be able to. What statement did the NCDC make the moment NCC said everybody should go register? Were they blind to people filling up NIMC offices? Didn't they see people there? Are they not aware of the report of the corruption that was going on because people were trying to get to register? And this was going on in every part of the country, so they can't say they didn't see these things. So coming out to say this, I would say, what have you done? You know that people were going to register. Okay, you didn't make a statement, so you were preparing to have a large chunk of people coming that would test positive to COVID-19, and you were not making plans. What happened to the isolation centers? What were happening to these places while we were relaxing and people were going out? You can't blame the spread of this virus on just an event that happened in December. You have to tell us what concrete plans you have made consistently over time to prepare for the second wave. The World Organization announced that there is a second wave coming, a strain of the virus coming. What was done? Our borders were not shut. There were still a lot of reports.
No, I think the new strain just came. It wasn't like anyone was actually prepared for the new strain, but everyone was at least there was a prediction of the second wave of the virus, But then I think at this point, I don't think these reports that are coming out will help to solve anything, because there's so many Nigerians that are depressed because of the kind of reports of and seeing on the TV on a daily basis. Now, if we have all of these happening, all of these things actually weaken the immune system. And apparently, if such people go out, they are very susceptible to actually getting this. So I think bringing out some reports like this will not just even help people psychologically and mentally. We should be able, as a body and as the people who are in charge of things like this, to be able to create solutions. Because I think what Nigerians want to hear now is, this is what we have put in place. Yes. These are the solutions we have. Or this is this state. What are you doing? So I think this is basically what Nigerians are looking forward to, not basically comments like this.
Well, I'm going to still find out what the Minister for Health, the Presidential Task Force, Boss Mustafa, what their agenda with regards to in terms of preparation. I'm just seeing a lot more reports on this. Questions. Have they started prepping isolation centers? Have they started fumigating isolation centers, getting isolation centers ready to accommodate more people? If you are making predictions that, we cannot handle it, then if you know you can't handle it, you prepare. You have an issue bigger than you seek help. You don't complain. We're just beating around the bush. We are not hitting the nail on the head. What is the end goal? Do you want more money to be given to you by the federal government to be able to protect lives and property? The money has been disbursed before. What was done with it?
All right. Thank you very much, Daniel. 25 minutes past 8 on Women Radio 91.7, and you're listening to the newspaper review. We would like to get your contributions this morning on 070-317-56537. You can send us WhatsApp or a text message. And now we are on the Nation newspaper, and with a headline saying resumption of schools threatened over virus spread. So I think there's just a whole lot that is on hold right now because of the COVID-19 virus that is beginning to spread. Resumption of schools on Monday is threatened by the rising COVID-19 infection last December, and the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 advised against early resumption of schools and recommended January 18. However, some states reopened schools last week and others reopened on Monday. But the positive cases have been on the rise since the month, with an average of 1,000 cases daily. The alarming rate of infection and death has forced the federal government to rethink the resumption date. And the Minister of Education, Adamu, said in Abuja on Monday that the resumption dates will be reviewed. And he hardly stated in his own words, the issue of January 18 for school resumption is subject to review. Even at our PTF meetings today, we discussed it in line with the rising cases in the country. So we are subject to review the date. Chairman of the PTF, Boss Mustafa, added that the reopening of schools is among the causes of the virus spike. And he also identified reopening of businesses and religious centers as other causes. And yes, Daniel, let me get your thoughts on this. And for me, I think reopening of schools right now, there should be a proper deliberation on it to be sure.
Truth be told, schools should not be reopened, especially tertiary institutions, because there is no way that they can tell us they would fully comply with COVID-19 protocols. First, the lecture halls right now should be looking dusty. They've been out of those premises for 9 months. Hostels of some of these students, those who live off campus, rents have expired. They haven't lived in these places. So at first, there is too much to compromise for us to ask schools to resume. My question remains. If they are actually the academic staff union of universities, as they claim, if there is a Nigerian Union Universities NUJ, what have they done?
NUJ is Nigerian Union of Journalists.
Okay.
NUT, there's an NUT.
Yes, okay. What have they done all of this while? In the face of this COVID-19 pandemic, we saw the progression of private institutions. And I'm not comparing private institutions to federal or state universities. Of course, we can't compare the amount they pay in terms of the services the students they offer, right? That's why they are able to brace up to the time. But we would put ourselves
But should that be an excuse? Because
yes, it's a big. I'm not saying it's an excuse, but it's a lapses that
it's a very big
places
gap.
That call themselves Citadel of Learning have not been able to advance technologically. That is what it means. That's what it means. Lecturers can effectively hold classes across various platforms. What was being done? Go to each school and reach out to the computer programmers. They can create. There are even enough softwares already available to make it accessible. These are things we need to look at. Okay, a church held a virtual concert in December last year. Wasn't there free access to the internet to watch it for people who wanted to watch it? Is that not possible? What are we see? The mindset of those. One of the most selfish institutions in the country is still the educational sector, because I see how we've seen lecturers rise to become professors and all, and they are more concerned about their personal growth than what happens to the undergraduate who they are lecturing. And as long as that selfishness, which just concerns for how much they can progress, and they are not looking at better ways to improve. Some of these lecturers.
But do you think this is probably some of the lecturers' faults? The reason why
some
I'm
of these
saying
lecturers
this,
make the board. I want to make the point
they make
that
the board, okay?
They make the board, right? Most of the lecturers we have in these countries have gone to other parts of the world where things are properly.
What if they came back and actually made some suggestions, but then were not listened to?
Well, I wouldn't deny that. I've spoken with a lecturer one time. We came back from the UK, had his PhD in the UK, and brought in some new system to teach right here in the country. And his effort was being frustrated. Then you look at the fact that we complain about our leaders who are a little bit backward in some of the decisions they take or how they approach certain institutions. But I think our leaders have even braced up. The governors have been having virtual meetings. The president has been having virtual conferences and meetings and responding to messages and meetings. Why can't we create something to also work for the Nigerian student? It is, these things are achievable. The resources are there to achieve these things, but are we ready to put in the work? Are we ready to put in the work?
All right. Thank you very much, Daniel. We'd still like to get your contributions on 070-317-56537. Let's get your contribution this morning. And you're listening to the newspaper review on Women Radio 91.7. And I'll just take some of the text messages we have this morning. And this is from Engineer Wale Nikorodu. He says, good morning. Ogunde testing 1% so appalling and highly ridiculous. I don't think some states are sincere in their approach in curbing the spread of the virus. On forming of new political alliance, it is not expected because of their desperation and hunger for power. But our youth should be careful not to fall into their deceit. It is time Nigerian youth should start to speak with one voice. Thank you very much, Engineer Wale, for your contribution this morning. And I also have this text message here. This is from Thomas from Songwater. It says, to avoid COVID-19 infection, my advice to NIN registration officials is to have a comprehensive list of applicants at each registration point and place them in batches of 50s or hundreds per day and display the lists on the wall. If possible, issue them with numbered discs. All right. Thank you for your contribution there. These are suggestions that might work. And we'll also have Monday Okay from Maripo. He says here, good morning, WFM and Daniel. America 2020 presidential election finally puts America in one chance like Nigeria 2015 presidential election, which today Nigeria is the headquarters of poverty in the world and number one debt and borrowing country of the year. And Mr. Daniel, this NIN link code is scam. It does not work, and the NIMC staff are just suffering masses in the name of registration. Thank you very much, Sunday Okay, for your contribution this morning. And I also have this text message here. This is from Chooks from Ikeja. It says here, will Nigeria make any progress until the country is blessed with men and women who care less about what they will loot, but rather what they can offer to make life meaningful for ordinary Nigerians? Good morning. Thank you very much, GK, for your contribution. And I have this from additional Wasiu in Ikorodu. Good morning in the station on insecurity in Nigeria. Unless we do the needful by doing restructure of this country, will not have progress. Let Osun State man place Osun and permit Kwara man place Kwara State. And it also says if Nigeria refused to restructure of this country, I'm afraid bandits will not overrun us before 2023. Please do the needful. And in Oyo State, I think they are doing a perfect job. And I want other Southwest governors to emulate him. That's the governor of Oyo State. Or that, because without peace, no progress. Thank you, additional Wasiu, for your contribution. But if you want to join the conversation as well and be a part of the newspaper review, you can send a text or a WhatsApp message 070-317-56537. Yes, Daniel.
Yeah, so I want to respond to some of the text messages that were saying Ogun State has only conducted 50,000 tests. I want to make it known today that sample tests in Nigeria, 36 states of the Federation collected so far is 1,033,858. If we go by a population of 200 million, 10% of 200 million is 20%. So we as a nation, we have not even performed well. So we haven't collected enough sample tests as we speak. Confirmed cases right now stands at 101,331. Active cases is 19,400. 78, and this we've discharged 80,491, and deaths is 1,361. So for Ogun State to have only conducted 50%, I'm not sure of the exact population of Ogun State right now, but if we look at the total samples collected in Nigeria, it is next to nothing. Not so for Ogun State to have collected 50, I do not understand where the amplification of that is coming from. But if the whole country has not been able to carry out extensive, we have not been able to test at least 10% of the population has not been tested. We have only done 1%. Less than 1% has been tested. We just have a little over 1 million people that have been tested. So as a country, we haven't even done enough. So before you criticize Ogun State, look at how many tests has been done in the whole nation.
All right. Thank you very much for that. And on the Vanguard newspaper, now we have the headline, Insecurity, Elders Ask Buhari to Act on Wishes of Nigerians, National Assembly Resolutions on Service Chiefs. Elders in the country have asked President Muhammadu Buhari to respect the resolution of the National Assembly and majority of Nigerians on the replacement of service chiefs over the nation's state of insecurity. They explained that the growing state of insecurity across Nigeria necessitated the need for them to reinstate their earlier position. Noting that security heads were not indispensable, the elders regretted that their inability to contend insecurity since their appointments had portrayed the federal government being led by the All Progressive Congress in a bad light. And the elders, under the aegis of the Conference of Concerned Nigerian Elders, in a statement, tasked the president to see reasons with the overwhelming calls by majority of Nigerians, as well as recent resolutions of the two chambers of the National Assembly for the sack of the service chiefs for efficient security management in the country.
I was reading a report this morning. If I can't remember the exact title. I want to use the word for word in that report, but it's not coming to my head right now. Okay, so yes, these elders they have spoken. They have spoken through the media. We have heard them, but still, the onus is still on Mr. President. By February 1st, we expect Mohammed Adamu, Inspector General of Police, alongside 3 Deputy Inspector General of Police and 10 AIGs to also bow out with him. February 1st of this year. If the services have been kept this long, we see Mr. President taking out, telling Mohammed that your service is still needed to the country. So for me, I think I have not outgrown the fact that the president, we have spoken about the president, the service chiefs being changed. People have said, let's bring in fresh mind. Let's see what they can do. Some people would argue that, they have been there. They know there has been a plan. But then I also believe that this administration has really shown that there is literally a very huge gap between the presidency, the legislative, and also the people as we speak. Because while all these claims have been made, the president has not single-handedly made a point. Instead, we have heard from Garba Shehu, Lai Mohammed, Femi Adesina, what's the other man's name? Attorney General of the Federation, speak on behalf of Mr. President on these issues. So until we hear from Mr. President, I don't think we are making progress clamoring for the service chiefs.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And on the Guardian newspaper, this headline says, Cross River government task armed forces on intelligence structure, civil unrest. Cross River State government has tasked the nation's armed forces to improve on their intelligence architecture to end civil unrest in the country. And Governor Benedict Ayade, who was represented by the Deputy Governor, Professor Ivara Esu, gave the charge during the Christian service to mark the 2021 Armed Forces Remembrance Week in Calabar. Nayade wondered that why this Remembrance Week in Calabar. Nayade wondered why the Nigerian military, in all its might, had ended insecurity banditry, and other vices in the country and enjoined the armed forces to deploy satellite and other relevant technology to restore law and order, peace and security in Nigeria and give the citizens peace. However, commended the service chiefs for their tireless effort in trying to keep the country united and safe, adding that the yearly event has created an opportunity for the nation to remember and honor those who died in service, as well as cater for the families they have left behind.
Okay, so yes, Cross River Ayade has spoken well. He also spoke with the fact we need to improve on the intelligence unit of the system, which is one of the major challenge that has been raised so far. The DSS have the statement that there could be issues of bombing in parts of the West. So you have not made a single arrest. So what's the report backing this information? How come you have intelligence report about activities here in the southwest and report in the north? We've heard reports of bandits, collecting levies. Like I've always said it, until there is proper protection for persons, progress within security.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. And we'll just take some WhatsApp messages. This is from Mr. Wale from Barua Yanokwaja. It says, Banju newspaper review crew, the security while they are all right, while they are not feeling secure for contribution there. This one is from Akin from Ikorodu. It says here, Dan politicians said we should do need to insult and threaten them, and these numbers couldn't be traced. Telling Buhari to give Trump ban is look sector is average. We must never negotiate with for collation of tricks and what have you, construct a railway from the northern part of the country to Niger, the Niger Delta, the center of the nation's wealth, and denying equal rights. Thank you very much, Anderson, for your contribution also. And I also have this text message, still was you in Ikorodu. It says, good morning. If 47 Fulani men can be arrested in Oyo with gun in their hands, that means our southwest need to be vigilant because these people crime is their way of life. Can you imagine in Nigerian state they demand million monthly. We can't wait until they overrun us here. Thank you very much, additional for your contribution. And Rosa Angel Lawali Mutiu from Alakwara says, good morning, my dear presenters. Nigerians' masses are thwarting government efforts to contain the new deadlier variant of COVID-19 by not obeying the COVID-19 protocols and would have themselves to blame if one of them catch the virus and transmit it to others, as the elites are only concerned about themselves. The masses should wake up to their responsibility for crying out loud. The senators allowing in indicting one ministry or the other without making sure offenders persecuted. Isn't that corruption shaking hands? Until we have good followers, good leaders, we will continue to be a mirage. Thank you very much, Rosange, for your contribution this morning. And this says here, this is from Peter Sainogo State. It says here, the so-called leaders of this country, Nigeria, is solely responsible for the ills of the society. Citizens are ever ready to slavely comply with the directives from the government, whether right or wrong. This is why Nigeria today is tagged a zoo country, a country ruled by presidency in the form of cabals. For this reason and more, the Boko Haram and bandits have taken over most of the northern territories. Thank you for your contribution there, P. Dasa. And Chooks still says this: forcing Nigerians to go and register for NIN during this period of COVID-19 pandemic or having their mobile lines blocked clearly exposed the insensitivity of Nigerian rulers. Full stop. Thank you very much. And James Ogbona from Oshodu says, good morning, Women Radio. As regarding the COVID-19 in Nigeria, I think it's to accept the reality. Many a times I give up on security. I give up. It is already out of control and beyond the government. Let's just sell off this country. Okay. Thank you for your contribution there. It's exactly 12 minutes to 9 on Women Radio 91.7, and you're still listening to the newspaper review. And I have this headline under this day newspaper. If you want to join the conversation, send a message rather to 070 317 56537. Arrest suspected plotters of religious violence, ACF, Afenifere Khan tells DSS. And the Arewa Consultative Forum, Afenifere, and the Christian Association of Nigeria have urged the Department of State Service to go after were plotting to incite religious violence in the state. The Nigerian Supreme Court of Islamic Affairs also condemned the alleged plot, stressing that it has always been in the forefront of advocacy for peace, coexistence among Nigerians, especially Christians and Muslims. And however, the Pan Niger Delta Forum PANDEF accused the DSS of raising unnecessary alarm, warning that the nation's worsening security situation should not be given religious coloration.
Yes, you should not.
And they spoke against the backdrop of a statement stated yesterday by the DSS in which it alleged that there was a plot to incite religious violence in Sokoto, Kano, Kaduna, Plateau, Rivers, Oyo State, Lagos, and some states in the southwest.
Question that I asked earlier: what arrest has been made so far? The infiltration of social cultural groups like Khan, the Islamic movement, the Afenifere, the Pandef. These are two sides. The Khan and the Islamic, that is the one that's the religious angle. The ethnic part is where we have Afenifere on the southwest side, the Pandef on this side. We have the northern on the other side. So you do not have a speed with this effect. You just don't give out locations. Taking the issue of security serious until we have a 3-digit number that I can dial on my phone. Don't give me an 11, 12-digit number to call and tell me that that's your emergency line. What if I need to have it on my head? You hear the Americans say things like down 911, down 911. It's 3-digit number. You can't forget it. Even if you forget it, by default, if you have a smartphone, if you go through your call log, if your phone is off, you can actually still dial an emergency line. So understand that the issue of security is beyond where it needs to be. I just strongly believe that this year's budget for security will be judiciously used in improving the system and also equipping the people that needs to be equipped. But the intelligence units and those of our men are heroes that are at the war front.
Thank you very much, Daniel. But before call it a wrap this morning, what will be your final words on all that we have spoken about today?
More than ever before, it's required of us to remain patriotic to this country. More than ever before, it's a time for us to unite as one and think about the progress of this country. More than ever before, the unity of this country, every single person who is a Nigerian. And more than ever before, it is important that we for no day think less of Nigeria.
Thank you very much. But I'll take this last text message. It says here, please, Bukola, what is the authentic information as regards schools resumption next Monday? I need to know because are resuming next week. And this is from James Ogbona. Now, there has been there's been a circulation that there's going to be a review of that date of resumption. So I'm sure in the course of this week, there's going to be more updates. I had one of our staff in the office came in this morning and she said that her children are not resuming, that they told them not to resume. So if there is going to be any clarity with that, definitely we're going to hear more in the course of the week before next week. But then, according to one of the dailies that we took this morning, they're going to review that resumption date so we don't get to spread this virus. Thank you very much for staying tuned to Women Radio 91.7. We appreciate your text and WhatsApp message this morning. And please let us be mindful and stay safe. Let us stay safe. It is very important. Please wear your nose mask. If you don't need to go out, see, there's no need. If you don't understand what's it's unnecessary out. You don't need it right now. So you protect your family, you protect yourself and all of your loved ones. So please stay safe, wear your nose mask, observe all of the precautionary measures, up your hygiene level, which is very, very important. 50%. Thank you so much. Thank you, Daniel, for doing this with me. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Good morning.
We are WFM 91.7, the voice of women, using radio as a tool for women development. We condemn the abuse of women, girls, and children in any shape or form. WFM 91.7, the voice of women.
Be aware, COVID-19 also